Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to this video where I'm gonna to show you a bit of the new alpha release of PlaneShift on Unreal Engine. There's been quite some work, I have to say, but I'm pretty happy to say that we see the light at the end of the tunnel. It seems that we are closer to releasing something that is actually playable, but still we are in alpha stage. Alpha stage means that at the moment the game is available only to restrict the number of people, and in particular is available to our Patreons and is available to the people that are already players of the previous games. So if you have at least 200 hours of gameplay in the previous game, you can access it as well. As you can see on the top right, you have the 073 release, and from now on we will put there the version so you can recognize also when you are reporting problems in the release. So we are releasing tonight this version for Windows, for Linux, and for Mac, which is quite an achievement, but is mostly thanks to the Unreal Engine, because Unreal Engine allows us to compile and create packages in multiple platforms. On the Mac, it's been quite complex anyway, but we did it. There are some special things to do for the Apple platform. So again, if you are a Patreon or if you are a veteran player, you can download the game today. Again, it's an alpha, so don't expect a playable game or a full game, but it's just a way for us to see how it works and to see if it works on a bit of a larger scale open world, because actually we have changed the way the maps are made, and yes, we have imported all the old maps, but in addition we also added the space that was between the cities, the main cities, which now is like open world, and you can use without issues. So yeah, the login screen is pretty much the same as the old game. The characters also, we didn't do an upgrade yet on the graphics, but just the fact that we are using a new engine is already improving a lot the some of the textures, some of the shadows, some of the effects. Now we are planning to upgrade these characters in the future, so they are very low poly compared to very low quality, compared to the nowadays standards, but we can, now that we have a new platform, go on and make changes as we go. So if I click on play, I will enter the world, and the main thing that you will notice is that yes, there is not a loading screen, so you will see a blue sky for a bit, and it will start to load. It actually has a lot to load depending on the location where you start, but we will substitute this with a loading screen. So at the moment all the main cities are available, and also the some of the monsters have been, an NPC have been loaded already. For us, let's say this release is important because we want to test, first of all, if it's actually working, meaning if the engine can actually sustain a significant number of NPCs. We loaded a few hundreds now, and I think is we are gonna load even more. And seems it's loading up finally. Okay. I'm falling through the world, but I will be teleported up because I added a new check for that. So here we are in the world, and yeah, it's the old Idla Plaza area, so many of you will probably recognize it. There are some small changes, like you can enter the blacksmith now and things like that, but pretty much the game is the same. The movement of the character is improved compared to the previous game. Still has some quirks that I have to fix, so is sometimes you can see him shaking a bit, but overall the movement are improved. The graphics and the shadows, you can see that on the ground there is a stencil shadow of my character, which is reflecting what items he has in his hands, and so the shadow and the lights are quite improved. In terms of UI, yes, you have most of the UI already working, like the chat mechanism is working with some nice bubbles. You have already a skills. The skills system is getting reworked, and so you can see here how it will work in the future with certain say milestones in the evolution of your skill, which will provide you talents. Today is not like this, but we are gonna make it like this. Other parts like quests, which are already working. Again, not fully, but let's say most of it is working. The spell book is still missing icons, but spells kind of working as well. And obviously your inventory with your items and the ability to drop items to the ground and such, right? So all of that is pretty much working. Maybe what I can show you a bit of the world. I added something like, yes, the names on top of the character and names on top of the item. So if you drop any item, you will see his name. Like this item seems to be a pretty big one. I don't know, it has a weird name, but yeah, Masterwork Mercenary Helm of the Defender. Okay, so it's a very special item, it seems. There are still some issue in the chat, as you can see. Sometimes when I drop an item, it does that, but most of the commands like who or I don't know, yon or whatever are actually working. So there are some emotes already in terms of animation. Now the character are still a bit rough, so we need to smooth the animations and the and the movements. Now let's try maybe to go somewhere else so I can show you a bit of the areas that have been imported. So here we are in the winch area. I just teleported to one of the NPC. This is the winch area which has been ported pretty much like it was. Again, you may have the benefit, of the new shadow, the new lighting, but pretty much, is the level that it was before. Now the grass is different. The grass is much nicer to look at, and also is moving a bit, so there's a bit of wind effect. The trees also have been improved, and so we are slowly, improving it. And I think at the end would be anyway pretty cool compared to what it was before. Yeah. So let me maybe visit some other places. Just to show you some other places. So let me teleport to Malco, which is in Gugronted, is the city of the stone man, or the Kran as we call them. Yes, when it's loading a lot, you will see the character floating in the air, but this should not happen to you because you are not able to teleport. So basically I moved about 10 kilometers away from the place where I was. In your case, you will walk that way, and so the game will load the pieces as you go. There are no more loading screens. The good thing is that the world is now open, so you don't have any restriction of where to go. In fact, if I slide myself up, maybe I can show you. I can slide myself up like 300 meters, you see. So the world is pretty open. Now you can still see the borders because we are too far. But when you go close to the border, the rest of the world will load up, and so you will not see a border, but you will be actually able to walk more and more and more. Obviously, there is a limit, but the limit is pretty far. You can try to go in one direction and see where it ends. Here we are going on the top of the Grand City, and we are now entering the main tavern of the city. I still have a bit of a problem with the positioning of the items, but you can see they are floating in the sky, in the air, but it's just because the coordinate system has to be moved down like half a meter. But that's a pretty simple thing to do. I think I can do it very quickly. Other places, we can go in Ojaveda for sure. You can see there is this small loading, well, not small, depends on the distance, but there is a loading screen and the character is kind of flying for a second, but again, you will not experience this depending on the distance. Now I went pretty far away as well, so depending on the distance that I teleport, basically the game has to load everything that is around, and it's not something that is used to, and it's not happening for you again because you are walking through the places. But anyway, that is Ojaveda and the city of Heights, the city of our feline characters. If you want to see a bit from the top, I can also jump up, and you see that there are multiple parts of Ojaveda that were already present, and some new ones that are still under construction. Then maybe we can try to go, even if it's pretty far. Let me try. Oh, the music in the background is like... let me try to go to the city of the Kleros, and so we'll teleport to Alnaxen and see if we can reach it. This one is actually pretty far away, so that is again several kilometers away from, and for sure is the opposite side of Ojaveda, of the Enki city. And here we are. So we landed in Avneder, which is an incredible city because it's made and expanded. Was made long time ago, but then expanded, and now the city looks really nice. Let me try to do a quick jump up and show you something from the top. There are so many new quarters, and there is an area that is connected to the walls of the giant caverns where we are in. And yeah, I think that is a bit what I wanted to tell you. So I'm going to release the 3 downloads for Windows, Linux and Mac, and you can at least walk the way I did. Now if you try to fight or do other stuff, I'm not guaranteeing that it will work, but there is a solid base upon which we can build what we have developed, and we can build up, on top of this. And yeah, so thank you for all the supporters. Thank you to all the supporters. Thank you to the people that are following us, and they are chatting in Discord or in YouTube. They are following the streams, and thank you for your support. If you want to download the game today, you can just become a Patreon, or if you are a veteran player. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to show you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time in the next video and the next live stream. Goodbye.